Good evening. This is the Limerick Select Board meeting of October 7th, 2024, and I will look for a motion to go into executive session under NRSA subsection 405-6A.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we are in executive session. Okay, we are back, and we will end the executive session and reconvene at 7 o'clock for the regular select board meeting. Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to start tonight with a special town meeting to discuss the door-to-door bid. So,
Early? It's not quite 7.
Thank you. I don't know.
3 minutes.
Cindy brought it in.
Oh, okay, so we're,
It was in the library. Martha.
Is Stan in the building?
You want me to go get him?
I'm going to send him a message.
She's on it.
Can't tell you. Can't tell you.
You know I hate you, right?
No, it was nothing. We're just talking about some of the politics and stuff like that. Jesus, this place is full now.
Alicia.
To Stanley Hackett, Constable of the Town of Limerick in the County of York, State of Maine. Greetings. In the name of the State of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the Town of Limerick and said county and state qualified by law to vote in town affairs to meet at the Municipal Building, 55 Washington Street in said town on Mondays, 7th of October 2024 AD at 7 o'clock in the afternoon, then and there to act upon the following articles. Article 1, to choose a moderator by written ballot to preside at said meeting. Do I have any nominations?
Nominate Stan Hackett.
Second?
Second.
If a few people can write down who you believe should be moderator. And if everybody agrees, then I'll swear him in. Stand on the back. All in favor? It's unanimous. I don't know.
Did you have time to get your truck lettered?
Sorry?
Did you have time to get your truck lettered for your new position?
Moderator.
It's magnetic sign.
Ignore my writing. Read that paragraph, please.
Reading that.
You too.
It says, I, Brady, the town clerk of Limerick, hereby certify that Stanley R. Hackett, this day personally appear before me at 55 Washington Street, Limerick, Maine, and took the following oaths. I, Stanley R. Hackett, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, so as long as I shall continue a citizen thereof. So help me God. I, Stanley R. Hackett, do swear that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my abilities the duties incumbent on me as a moderator of this meeting according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Maine. So help me God.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It is all yours.
So the first thing is, if there is no objection, the moderator will be guided by the main moderator's manual and the supervising the conduct of this meeting. Is there any objection? I'll turn them down a little bit. If there is no objection, the moderator will be guided by the main moderator's manual and supervising the conduct of this meeting. If there's none, just I'll be going by the manual. This is a parliamentary meeting, a special town meeting. That being said, so everybody knows, the purpose of a parliamentary meeting is that everybody has the right to be heard. That's the bottom line. I won't go through the 3 pages that they describe it. So, rules of the debate. Raise your hand or stand as directed by the moderator to be recognized, and then state your name. Come to the podium and what you would like to say, whether you got a motion or your opinion or discussion. Stand while speaking, they already repeated that. After a motion has been made and seconded, the moderator will open the floor for discussion. A person who makes the motion is entitled but not required to be the first speaker on the motion and may not vote against the motion but may seek consent to withdraw it. A person seconding the motion may both speak against it and vote against it. Do not make a speech and conclude it with a motion. Rather, make a motion and then speak to it after it has been seconded and put to the floor. Address all remarks and all questions to the moderator alone. Remarks must be relevant to the motion. Debate will generally alternate between those in favor or those opposed. No one should address the subject more than twice without express permission. The meeting may establish a time limit. No one may speak a second time until all who wish to speak a first time have done so. Speak to the issue, not to the person, and do not question motives or speak ill of another. Profanity is out of order. Do not read from any document except the warrant without first obtaining the moderator's consent. So I'm not going to look at your documents, so you read from whatever you want. Take a conversation outside and mute all mute all phones except for emergency workers. Are there any questions on the procedures of the meeting? He said we'll proceed. Article 2, shall the town enter a 3-year contract with Mellon and Sons Disposal Services starting January 1st, 2025? and ending on December 31st, 2027. For the door-to-door pickup of trash services for the cost of $300,000 a year. The Select Board recommended yes. The Budget Committee recommends no. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept the article as written.
Second.
We have a motion to accept the article as written, and we have a seconded. The floor is open for discussion. Anyone wish to rise? Cheryl, would you like to speak?
I know I was up here last week, and I don't know how many taxpayers actually heard me, but I just wanted to refresh some memories. I got paperwork if people want to see it. It doesn't matter whether they read it. But I just have a quick question for the moderator. How can a select board member and the trash contractor make a deal when they're using it to their personal purposes? Is that legal, unethical, or illegal?
So let's repeat the question you're asking.
Okay, how can a select board member and a trash contractor, which is a employee of the town, okay, make a deal a year before for this all to go through for their own personal or one's personal ending? Is it unethical or illegal? Because I went over this all last week, that this little sweetheart deal, we've always gone out to bid. I got two people that wants to go out to bid for this contract when it does come up, but they can't do it because the select board or a member made a deal by having one of the employees fired, and this is how he's taking care of it. And it's not slandering anybody because it was on Facebook all over the place.
So the question is towards the select board on how they can do this without going out to bid, is the question, or are you asking?
Half of the question, the other question is how can an elected official and a town employee do backdoor deals? Just putting it bluntly would be better.
I don't think there's any knowledge of any elected official making any deals on the backside. But that would be unethical, but would the board like to address the question?
Well, it's in writing if you want to read it. You know, it just says either fire him or I'll sue you. The second page is more explicit. On the top, no, right there. And the employee was fired within days. I mean, businesses do this all the time, but how can a town do it?
In answering this from what I'm reading is that this wasn't done as an elected official. This was done on a personal basis, and it should have disclosed that. This is a good example of where if you work for a town or employed by a town, if you make any mentions either on social media or text message, you need to put a statement in there that this is your opinion and not that of the town's. But this is more of a personal level and not acted on as a town, because it doesn't mention that the town will sue. It's the personal individual that will sue.
How could the personal individual of the town sue a employee of the town with a signed contract that they had, a trash contract?
Well, the employee was an employee of Mellon's. It wasn't an employee of the town. So, and anybody can sue
No, but
anybody.
the Mellons was the one that did the deed of firing.
Mellon's has a contract with the town.
Yes.
But they're not an employee, they're a contractor.
Okay.
So
I just didn't know whether it was unethical or just illegal or just a shit show.
If there was more verbiage here, I would probably give credence to the unethical, but right now it's vague in verbiage.
Just wanted it known that that's how this town runs.
Is there anybody else? Stephanie?
Stephanie Bishop, Chairman of the Budget Committee. I think your article needs to be amended to say that if you're going to raise and appropriate this money, are you going to transfer it from capital? Are you going to transfer it from undesignated? Exactly how you're going to raise the money to pay for the bill. Question one.
Actually, that motion can't be made because it would change the intent of the article. It would deprive people of their right to know if you were going to raise money or indicate raising any more monies. You would have to give that in the warrant itself prior notice. So you can address the warrant as it is, or you could amend it, and an amendment can be made as long as it doesn't change the intent of the warrant article.
We'll raise the money, as we do every year, we'll put it in the budget, and it will be voted on in March.
So don't you think you should have told people that you were going to raise their taxes to give them a chance to be here to speak if they knew that?
Well, I think
Because it is an increase, right, of their tax bill.
it is an increase in the contract.
It is an increase, which means we have to raise more money to cover the expense of the contract.
Correct.
Okay. So the other questions I have are, for those that didn't watch the Budget Committee meeting, it was actually a tie. And as the chairman, I had to break the tie. And the Budget Committee recommended a no vote, which was me, which I want to explain my reasoning. I think Mellon does an excellent job, okay, delivering trash or picking up the trash. However, on August 26th, the board members signed a purchasing policy for the town, which stated that any expenditure over $15,000 will go out to bid. You guys are not following the policies, and therefore you're creating havoc because as an elected official, I don't have to follow the policies, the select board don't, so why should I have to follow them for my board? You have employees saying that. You have other elected officials. So I think by not leading by example, you are creating a little bit of havoc there. And breaking a policy is probably not a good sign. The other thing is you really didn't give the Budget Committee the time to do the due diligence. You sent this to us at 8 o'clock at night on a Wednesday night. We were meeting Thursday. We came before the board with questions. To be honest with you, they really weren't answered. And so as an elected official who's asked by the townspeople to take the time to research and analyze something, is this a good expense for the town? We weren't afforded that. We had to make a decision that night. We even asked you guys, could we have an additional week? Just 1 week to look at this. This contract doesn't expire until December 31st. And you wouldn't even allow that to happen. You have other contracts in this town that have expired, okay? The Kennebunk Animal Welfare Society expired on December 31st, 2023, and you still haven't renewed that one. What makes this one have to come to light right now, today, and do that?
So I keep hearing you guys, you guys, you guys.
Well, the
We
board,
guys
the board.
We guys aren't doing anything other than bringing this forward to the taxpayers and the voters to make the decision. They have the ultimate say
But
in
John,
any town issue. They have the ultimate say. They can say no, and we do something different. They can say yes, and we're going to follow their wishes. You guys aren't doing this. You guys are doing, us guys aren't doing this. We're
You
bringing it
brought
forward
forth an
because we
article.
feel it's in the best interest of the town, so we're bringing it forward for the people to make the decision. We didn't enter into a contract with Mellons. We said, we think this is the best way to move forward, and the people will decide how much more. That's the way of the world. That's democracy at its best. How much better
You're
can you
not
get?
allowing us, as elected officials of the Finance Committee, to do the due diligence to bring an alternative option to the table, okay? You're not allowing that process to happen. You told us That night, we had to make a decision. If this went out to bid, there would be a 4 in front of it, and that taxes would increase even more. That's called, I don't know, hostage, holding us hostage. Because if we send something out to bid, the price is going to increase $100,000. When you make an agreement with someone to purchase a home, a car, I don't care, whatever it is, contract, there's usually a 30-day waiting period. And for someone who knows that they have to come before a municipal vote, to then turn around and tell me, as a budget committee member, that if we have to put this out to bid and they have to wait 30 days, that contract's going to go up $100,000, that's called holding us hostage. And I don't like it, and it's threatening.
Well, no, that's reality, and,
No, I don't
and the
think so.
budget committee had, the budget committee went through the process, and they recommended no. And that's the right as the budget committee.
No, because you guys didn't allow us to do the due diligence that we needed to do as elected officials.
And you get to put on the ballot that you recommend a no vote, and you can stand here tonight and give all the reasons why you recommend a no vote, and in the end, the people decide. That's like, how much more?
But why the rush, John? Why the rush to bring this before the people without at least allowing us a week to look at the due diligence?
Well, time is of the essence with all this stuff. I mean, if we were going to go back out to bid, what? By the time you get back out to bid and do some things, we felt that this was the best deal for the town. And if the townspeople think it's not a good deal, vote no. Vote no. Things happen quickly. This happened quickly. This came about. It's a good deal for the town, and we're giving it to the people to decide. So let the people decide. What?
I think by this rush, allowing the budget committee to not do their due diligence, you are not allowing things to happen the way they should have, following the processes that this town, that you as a board voted and approved 30 days earlier. You're inviting corruption and fraud into this town by doing some of this.
If somebody feels that they want to do something the way we did, which is bring it to the people and have the people vote on it, it's not corrupt and it's not fraudulent. If somebody wants to do something backdoor in another way around the people, then maybe you're correct. But if somebody wants to follow the process we did and bring it to the people, like I said, you can't ask for any more than
The
that.
next contract that you're going to just go out and negotiate and maybe give to a friends and family with benefits, that we're going to have to say yes to.
That question is not regarding the current warrant article, so we can't answer that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Stephanie.
Follow the process is what I'm trying to get at.
And Stephanie does have a good point, but I wanted to remind everybody, please, when somebody is asked a question, allow the other individual to answer it, and then you may proceed. Judy?
Page, taxpayer in Limerick. Mellon and Son's doing great, and no issues with any of that. I do have a whole issue with this whole article, because, again, it's deceiving. Just like we might get grant money, we might not get grant money. We did get the grant money, luckily. But again, I didn't know that this was an increase of $100,000 from what the last contract was.
60.
60,000.
Or $60,000. Again, I don't feel, as a registered voter, as a taxpayer in this town, we need to keep flopping out money until you guys know, until the Board of Selectmen know for sure that this was the best deal. How would you know if you didn't put it out to bid?
So let's say, for instance, we did put it out to bid, and we didn't. Let's go down your road and say, we're going to put this out, we did. This board, any bidder could have come in. Let's say Mellon came in at more money and there was somebody less. We have the authority to give it to Mellon. We could go on our own. The policy doesn't say we have to give it to the lowest bidder.
Yeah, you
No,
need bid.
what I'm saying is, If we went out to bid and we wanted to pull a sweetheart deal, we could give it to Mellon's without any of you people deciding. We would go to bid and we'd issue a contract to Mellon. And it would get in the budget for next year and we'd pay for it. This is probably the first time that I know of that the entire town gets to vote on who's picking up their trash. Before that, the select board had the choice, and we could go with anybody. So we're actually opening up to the town to make their choice, and if they don't want it, you don't lift your green piece of paper, I guess.
Are there any other comments? Cheryl?
The board keeps saying the people are gonna make the choice, they're gonna vote. 20-odd people in this room are gonna make the decision, yes or no, whether this will go through. What about how many of it, keep telling me how many, 2,500, how many of us in the town? It could have waited and gone on the November, then it would have been true. The people would be voting on it.
We've never put a contract on a ballot for the people to vote on, ever.
20
Ever.
people voting on it is not fair.
How many voted on it last time? None. Zero.
The process is that it went on warrant. It is being voted by the people, whether it went by secret ballot or whether it's by special town meeting. Everybody received the same due notice. So that is the reason why we have to earlier stick to the content or the, of the warrant and not change the meaning of the warrant. And that's why before I said we can't add something to it because it changes the intent. So the intent was the people were given notice, they were given due notice, and that is why you're here tonight, whether it's 25 people. And this is, to expand on this, this is a sad part of a town annual open meeting is you'll get between 30 and 50 people who will decide on an $8 million budget. So by ballot or by voting, you're still given the same chances to vote and speak your piece. So the process is there, it's legitimate, and it's legal. Is there any other comments, questions? Joanne?
I've been a solid waste manager for 20 years in this town, and I've seen every 3 years it come up for bid, and the last 3 times it's come up for bid, we've sent letters out. I've talked to these other contractors personally, and the reason that they don't want to do it, and Mike will probably agree with me, is because of the number of mileage in Lake Arrowhead. This is what they keep telling me. They bid on it if it wasn't for the extra mileage in Lake Arrowhead. We're talking nearly 70 miles of roads. And so the budget committee, I spoke with them the night that they that they voted, and I told them that I would tell them what it was gonna cost if we didn't have door-to-door pickup and everybody had to go to the transfer station. Well, we couldn't do it, not the way we're set up now. We're gonna be able to take care of the summer people and the people that come to the transfer station on a weekly basis, which is about 1/3 of the total trash. If we went with 100% of the townspeople going to that transfer station, we'd have to have a whole new traffic pattern. We'd have to have another compactor off away from where we're working now. It'd be just too many cars. We have 200-300 cars, and we have 20-30 cars at a time down there. I can't even imagine what it would be. They'd be lined up down to F.R. Carroll's, waiting like they are in Waterboro. So as far as I'm concerned, this is in the best interest of the town. If you want to keep your door-to-door pickup, if you don't, vote no, and we'll have to figure out something else. But it needs to be done sooner rather than later, because if you do vote no, then we've got to figure out something else.
Joanne, any other comments or questions? There being none, we have a motion and a second to accept the warrant as written, which is, shall the town enter a 3-year contract with Mellon and Sons Disposal Service starting January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2027 for the door-to-door pickup of trash services for the cost of $300,000 a year. Again, the select board voted yes, and the budget committee recommends no. Okay, that's the other thing. When we ask all those in favor, you'll raise the green card. Please hold them long enough for the clerk to count them. When we say lower them, and then we'll ask again all those that are not in favor to raise your green card. So all of those in favor, please raise your green card. Lower your green cards. All those against? I counted 4. I had 16 in favor. So 16 in favor, 4 against. The warrant passes with 16 in favor. That concludes the special town meeting. I will turn the gavel back over to the chair of the select board. Oh, yes, sorry, missed one step. Is there a motion to adjourn? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor to adjourn the special town meeting? All those opposed? So, good.
Okay, thank you, Stan.
Brady, we're gonna take a break. The other room.
We should take a 5-minute break to clear the room.
And then do the public hearing.
John.
Okay, we are back. The next item we're going to address is a public hearing for the general assistance acceptance of the ordinance and appendices for the state guidelines. So I'll read the general assistance ordinance. Pursuant to 22 MRS section 4305-1, the municipal officers of the municipality of Limerick, after notice and hearing, hereby enact and attach general assistance ordinance with appendices in its entirety. The ordinance shall supersede and replace all previous ordinance versions. A copy of the ordinance will be filed with the Maine Department of Health and Human Services, the DHHS, pursuant to 22 MRS section 43054, and shall be available for public inspection at the municipal office, along with the copies of 22 MRS chapter 1161. So what we need to do is address the general assistance ordinance. Basically, this is something that happens every year when the department makes a few changes, especially in amounts that they're using to have people qualify for various sections of the general assistance requirements. They send out a new update every year, which we are required to implement should we vote to do so. So that's basically what we'll be addressing. Are there any comments about the general assistance ordinance? Seeing none, I will just make one comment that when the town offers general assistance to anyone who qualifies under the state requirements, we basically get 70% of that back. So the state is funding a good portion of general assistance to the members of the town here that need it. So that is just an FYI. So is there a motion to accept the general assistance ordinance?
So moved.
Can
Second.
we do that in the public hearing?
No, we can't.
You gotta wait.
Going to close the public hearing and then vote the appendices in.
Okay, well, with no comments, we will close the public hearing. Okay, we are now in the regular select board meeting, so will you please join us for the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that being said, I will look for a motion to accept the general assistance ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, and that will be on display for anyone interested in the details. So the next, I will look for a motion to approve the September 30th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor? Next, I will look for a motion to accept the warrants. I believe we only had the payroll warrants to review tonight before the meeting, so that's what we will move to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, would someone read the announcements, please?
The Building Advisory Committee will meet on Thursday, October 10th at 6 p.m. The Budget Committee will meet on Thursday, October 10th at 7 p.m. Budgets to be reviewed will be the transfer station, the fire department templates. The fire department will be hosting an open house of the new station on Saturday, October 12th from 9 to 12 p.m. All are invited to attend. The library will be closed Saturday, October 12th through Monday, October 14th for the holiday. The Select Board will meet on Tuesday, October 15th at 7 p.m. The municipal building will be closed on Monday, October 14th for the holiday. The Planning Board will meet on Wednesday, October 16th at 7 p.m. The Select Board will not meet on Monday, November 4th due to voting on Tuesday, November 5th. The polls will be open at the municipal building from 8 to 8. Absentee ballots started today. The town clerk and tax collector's office will be closed on Monday, November 4th for voter setup. The appeals board has 2 vacant seats to fill. Please reach out to the select board admin if interested at 793-4475. As a reminder, if you're speaking at any meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. As part of the hearing a citizens policy, no personal attack on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. And please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org.
Okay, thank you. For department reports, I believe we have, Stan is prepared to give us one.
Stan Hackett, Code Enforcement. An update on the code enforcement building permits so far as of today is, year-to-date is $93,023.77. The cannabis licensing, and this is the only licensing fees that we have in town, is $6,416.67. There is a rumor going around that Sean Gerard bought the Cool Stuff building. He did not, but I am aware that somebody has purchased it, and they may intend to have another dispensary. So that I'm not guaranteeing, but that was one of the rumors that's been going around. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, there's a couple roads that are in, well, there's one road that's in despair. Staples Hill Road on the Limerick side is in really bad shape. It's technically impassable on the Limerick side. So if we do get a call for the new dwelling that's on Staples Hill Road, we would have to respond by going into Leamington and approaching it from there instead of through Coffin Hill Road and up. So that's, and with the new dwelling, I know Staples Hill Road on in Limerick is closed to winter maintenance, but with a dwelling, we may consider having to plow that area. The other road is when Griffith, there is one dwelling. There was 2. The gentleman passed away earlier this spring, so that is also another road. And just beyond where when Griffith actually lived, which is what we used to plow, the culvert there has started to collapse and deteriorate. So the turnaround isn't really there until that culvert is fixed. But those are 2 areas that probably sooner than later we need to think about as a town is what we're going to do. The Prokey subdivision, I did inform the select board, has been put on hold. He fails to produce a irrevocable letter of credit to protect the town and its interest. So upon that, I did ask him, and he did respond, and it is going to remove all the for sale signs until the rest of the subdivision goes back to the planning board for review to divide the rest of those lots. And again, we did reestablish using either a performance bond or a letter of irrevocable credit for any major projects, so the town doesn't get stuck in past situations it has. And the other road that I wanted to bring up, we've discussed this, and there was a citizen's petition signed by several people, is the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit signs haven't been put up on Quarry Road yet, but the four-way stop sign for Quarry Road, Pickerel Pond, and Emery Corner Road. Today, just coming down from the Sawyer Mountain Road, Emery Corner Road, I saw 2 vehicles go through that stop sign without even stopping. So I would like to entertain or consider moving forward with the 4-way stop signs like that Burnham and Rangy Road. Those are $1,500 a piece. I do know Carroll Materials is looking into donating some monies towards those signs. But I think we're approaching, with the traffic issues going up to Sawyer Mountain, we need to address that issue as well.
Do you think with that issue, are you talking about the 1,500 for, is that the flashing sign?
Those are the flashing solar-powered signs.
And would they be on all of
On
them?
all four sides to
Okay.
make it a four-way stop. Somebody also did do some nice graffiti on the stop ahead sign and on the speed limit sign, so those are partially unreadable. And if anybody knows of anybody doing that, please let the authorities know, because that, even though those signs aren't real expensive, but it is another cost to the town to replace them when they're defaced or stolen. It's just, and that is a fairly rough area now as far as traffic goes. We did have, on tax acquired, we did have 2 other people that were behind on their taxes, and we had foreclosed on them 5 and 6 years ago, respectively. They came in Friday and then one today, and paid those taxes, which is a total of $25,702. So they now own their properties again, and they are aware that they have to pay the 2024 taxes. And if I have talked to them and mentioned that if you're having problems coming up at the year end, make some monthly payments. It doesn't hurt to pay ahead. So that is good news. And then on that note, I think I'm going to turn the mic over to Casey to go over the other properties. We have one that's sold and some other things to go over.
Updates and offers.
Yep.
Thanks for having me again, just another week. I'll start with, currently we have listed the combined lots of map 38, 4, and 5 on Fisher Drive. We had combined these lots in a previous meeting, and we received just one offer this week. I've had multiple calls, but the typical buyer has been a developer type, and was interested only if they could divide them, and I've been pretty clear with everybody it's for an undivided lot. So the offer that we do have, the price offered is $45,000. It included an escalation clause up to $65,000, $500 over the next closest offer. The deposit offered was $1,000. This offer was made subject to a title search and insurance, which we'll talk a little bit about that on some of the tax acquired. This is actually an owned property by the town, and subject to a septic design with a closing date of November 6th. Where there is no competing offer with this, the offer wouldn't be automatically escalated. The asking price for these combined lots is currently $60,000. I would recommend counter offering the buyer at full asking price, as these are some of the best lots that the town has to offer that are not tax acquired. For updates, Lot 96 Long Street, I have a HUD statement for you, is scheduled to close tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I'll bring that with the deed to closing and collect the check for the town. Lot 12 Range E Road has requested an extension, which I have for you to sign. I think just to explain a little bit, on Range E Road and the Dog Road lots, I was under the impression that maybe we would be following a different process because of the length of the time that they've been in possession of the town. But these are actually tax acquired properties, and not there's no title insurance available for them. Because even though they've been in the town's possession maybe since the 50s, what we are selling is in fact just the town's rights to the properties, but not, we don't have any legal ownership over them. So for Range E Road, and lot 105 on Dog Road. Both buyers have requested extensions so that they could investigate what it would take for them to either perform like a quiet title action or track down previous owners for a release deed so that they may obtain title insurance. Lot 106 Dog Road, the buyer has terminated their transaction for probably an entirely different reason and has also included release for their earnest money deposit, which would go back to the town. On Lot 8 and 9 on Fisher, those lots are in process, no issues. They've passed in all of their required documents. On Lot 8, which is on the corner of Sportsman and Moose, I had thought that this was a settlement lot when we went under contract, but it is in fact a tax acquired lot acquired back from Lake Arrowhead. And the buyer had a contingency in their offer / contract for finding out if the title was marketable, which it is not. So I have a price reduction form, and I would recommend reducing the price on a tax acquired lot to $20,000. I have no comparable history to go on what I think one of these lots is actually going to sell for to a buyer who's fully informed of buying a tax acquired property. The town attorney's given me some language to include in all of our listings so that we may inform the public of the risks of buying tax acquired property. So for that one, I would recommend a price reduction and putting it back on the market at a lower price with the disclosure. On lots 232 on Arrowhead and 340 on Edge Hill were the ones put under contract last week. The buyers have turned in the required documents for the contract and they're in process with their title companies. Do you have any questions? Looking forward, we have 4 listings to come on this week. I have 62 Washington Street, map 41, lot 290, which is also on Arrowhead Lane, map 40, lot 20 on Sportsman, map 41, lot 231, also on Arrowhead Lane. These are all tax acquired properties that have had their proper notices and time period expire.
Do you think it would be, some of these ones where the buyers are looking to do a quiet title action?
Yep.
And it looks like we're gonna have to reduce the cost on selling some of these, would it make sense for the town to invest some money in doing that quiet title action so we can give them a marketable title on future lots perhaps?
I think depending on the cost, and I've had some discussions about that, on the town to do that quiet title action to actually take possession of someone's property, I think could be perceived as the town taking people's property for their own gain. So it may not be in the town's best interest to pursue that. Do I think that a property will sell for a lot more money if it has a marketable title? That is 100% my belief. Do I think that, I don't know if it's even allowed for a town to do that, to take possession of what could be perceived as someone else's property.
Okay.
That's a good question, John, thank you. We did have a conversation with the attorneys on this. They don't recommend doing the quiet title. One, the statute says the only option the town has on tax acquired is the quit claim municipal deed, which is just releasing the interest the town has in it. So there's no guarantees of that. The other thing in Leamington prior to this new law, We inquired about doing that on a property, and it was gonna cost us about 10 grand to do it. So those are the factors, but that was before the law had changed. The other thing, which is gonna be a little bit of a downer, is I inquired about the Habitat for Humanity, and I also inquired about combining the lots. So in order to donate land, the town would have to have a special town meeting to appropriate at market value, whatever that property's market value was, to purchase it. So if we did that, then the monies naturally would, any proceeds of it would go to the heirs, the former owner, the heirs, or to the unclaimed properties, the state. So moving forward to combining lots, if it's a tax acquired and not quiet title, the tax acquired are, again, under that law that says if you can do that, but you're gonna have to buy the lot to combine it. Will it make it more marketable? Casey and I have been discussing that. So a $30,000 lot, if we combine it, can we get $60,000 for it? But again, the process would be, you'd have to have a special town meeting to appropriate the monies out of the general fund to purchase the property. Another option is, if you get monies from the sale of these, you could set aside a certain amount of money to purchase a lot and then combine it. But going forward on tax acquired properties, here's an example. There's only one property so far that there are any proceeds, but I haven't finished going through all of the, the valuation books. But here's a Lake Arrowhead property that's 0.4 acres. And we've owned it since, or we acquired it in 1974. And if we were collecting taxes on that since 1974, the principal balance of the taxes would have been $100,869. Currently, with the interest and other fees the town has in it, it comes to $204,148.78. So realistically, there probably will not be any proceeds on any of the acquired properties that have been longer than five years. So it's not really, but the reality of getting full market value is getting slim because of the problems with not having clear title. But an individual also can go and get the quiet titles afterwards. That's what Casey was mentioning. They purchase it, they can go through the quiet title process themselves, probably more reasonable than what the town cost would be to do it. So.
Joanne?
Yeah, just a quick question, Stan.
Yep.
Have we got a number of lots that are involved in this quiet title that haven't been quiet titled yet? Because the majority of them were done by him back in the 70s.
I guess I'd have to look more into that for you, Joanne, because I don't have the answer right now. I do know we've got a bunch of quiet titles, and I know we have tax acquired. And there's a little bit of confusion because there were two sets of quiet title actions. And I need to get to the first set to determine that, because that's some of the ones that you're having a problem with in determining who owns them.
There's a set of them that owners had purchased from, this seems like what the pattern is to me, but owners had purchased from the original developer of Lake Arrowhead, and then given their lot back to Lake Arrowhead, and they didn't come back in that quiet title deed, so they're in the tax acquired category, and they show actually in the chain of deeds as owned by Lake Arrowhead.
Thank you. So the first round of quiet titles, or the first round of legal issues with Lake Arrowhead and the acquired properties was right around 1989. And then around 2001 was when they finally closed on the second bunch of them. So,
But those are all right.
those are all right, yes, those are done, yep. Those.
And that, would it be helpful?
Yeah.
There are 15 town-owned lots that we've identified that are actually on a buildable road, a built road. The rest of them are on unbuilt roads in the neighborhood.
So,
Yes.
so speaking of which, thank you again, Casey. On the undeveloped roads, these are paper roads. They're still, most of them are passable and travelable, but they either haven't been developed up to road standards or they don't have water or both. Those roads with an agreement with Lake Arrowhead, we were told we can't sell them because they're not buildable. But again, that's the conflict with the law. It doesn't give us that option. But for now, because there is no rush, we're working with the Lake Arrowhead Committee and Lake Arrowhead to find out what the timeframes are on those roads and the water situation. And again, it will help slow down the growth a little bit too. So at least we'll have more answers for Casey and for the town on those. But we had a really good meeting with the Lake Arrowhead Committee. They all now have copies of the same map book that I'm using. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, these people that are gonna have to do their own title search on their properties, how long are you gonna give them to do that? And what if their outcome is they don't want it? Are you gonna give it to them the next bidder? Or is it gonna go out to bid?
Well, I think it's the board's choice. I think both requested 30 days.
And then what happens if they don't want it?
Then I think the property would go back on the market for the public. If it's terminated,
Yep.
the property would go back on the market.
So like these Dog Road, those will go back on the market?
Yes.
So it won't go up a bid, it'll be on.
Yeah, so we've been presenting offers on all of the listed properties every Monday.
The auction option for the state statute comes in after it has been listed 3 times. That's an option. But the other option, which is the one that is mentioned in the statute first, is it needs to be listed for 12 months. And if it doesn't sell, then the town has the option to auction them. So, I think with us listing them, what we've experienced is we're going in for full market value, and people are finding out that there are some problems, and if we lower it, I think they will still sell reasonably without going through the back and forth. So if there isn't anything else, you have a couple of things to approve that Casey brought up. You've got the counteroffer, and you have the price reduction, and then the properties to be listed. So does the board want to vote on the counteroffer? Or do you want to vote on it all at once?
I make a motion that we follow our realtor's recommendations on all the properties.
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second.
Here, 1 second. Okay, any further discussion then? All in favor?
And we're all aware that some of these the properties that she's listing now are the original ones that we started with. And some of them are problematic, but we'll get through it one way or the other.
Stan, can you go back to the roads, the 2 roads you discussed earlier?
The roads.
Staples Hill Road, you talked about Staples Hill Road.
Yep. And
Is there a new house being built there?
there is a new house right on the Limerick side.
And it's outside of the Proctor development? It's not part of that?
Yeah, it's not part of that. This one is on the right-hand side of Staples Hill Road. Prokey Development's on the left.
Okay, and what obligation do we have to give them a passable road?
But we're obligated because it's a town road that it is safe and passable. That is our,
Well, if the fire trucks can't get up, it's not safe and passable.
right. I went down it coming from Leamington because I can't go up it, even in four-wheel drive. I just sit there and spin. So I can come down it, If I hug, the right-hand side, the left-hand side is totally gone.
So a fire truck can't go down it?
It cannot.
So we talked to the road commissioner about what it will take to
I
get that?
have, he has it on his radar. The same with Win Griffith, he does have it on his radar.
And you said that the Proctor development, which was being kind of rejuvenated, you wanted a letter of credit from them for what?
The letter of irrevocable credit is for the infrastructure of building Staples Hill Road, Coffin Hill Road, and the interior roads of the development.
So the interior road is Proctor Drive.
Yes.
That already has houses on it.
It has a sublayer on a portion of it. It's not completely got a sublayer.
But it already has houses.
Where there's houses, there is a sublayer, yes.
So they were given certificates of occupancy on those houses before the road was done.
Right.
And I'm assuming you wouldn't give another one until that road is done.
Nope.
And why are they, if they're being held responsible for finishing off Coffin Hill Road, that's a town road, so why is it their responsibility to finish that road and not the person on Staples? Why do we have to finish Staples Hill Road for customer number one, but the developer's got to finish Coffin Hill Road for himself?
Proctor development, there are no other approved lots from the planning board on Staples Hill Road. So if he develops, and he does intend, or he has preliminary plans to add 2 more lots on the Staples Hill Road, but he needs to go to planning board review first, and then he also needs to get an irrevocable letter of credit to the town. So same thing with the Coffin Hill Road side. He had 3 signs on the Coffin Hill Road side that are beyond the original approved development. So he needs to go through the planning board review. So, and that is part of his original agreement with the planning board and the town that he would do. So holding him to it, I was willing to work with him that he could do 1 house at a time if he did these things and had the irrevocable letter of credit, but he denied to do the irrevocable letter of credit. So that denial warranted no permits.
And they've got 1 house they're building down there now.
That one is one of the lots that was pre-approved, and that
From the original
portion of
development.
Coffin Hill Road is up, but your point of plowing is gonna have to go beyond, just beyond
On
that
that house
driveway.
now.
That's all, but that section of Coffin Hill Road is up to road standards. It's just beyond that where it starts narrowing down, and I think there's a culvert that's starting to wash out there as well.
All right, thank you.
So, all set, and I thank you and your efforts. Very good.
Okay, we'll be moving on then to old business. And first item is about town-owned property information, which I think we've just received. And reviewing legal accounts, we don't have any in the warrants this weekend that we've seen, so we'll have to address that when we have some bills from the legal sources.
Stan, sorry. Can we maybe, Casey, you're waiting for us to sign some stuff to leave, right? You know, do you want us to do it? Can we sign her stuff so she can leave? As opposed, I don't want to, does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Everything we got to sign, we might as well do it all now, so.
You should have 3 things in your pile, Joe, if you sign and pass it.
Casey's. It's not Casey.
Okay, that's one, whichever those are for Casey, else we'll have to.
You get them all to you.
You vote to accept it.
Yeah, but let's just wait for what she has.
Yeah, I know, just,
We did vote, yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I know this was a lot.
Thank you for your kindness.
Of course.
Thanks for
I'll
all
hold
you're
on to the
doing.
rest of these. Yep, yep.
Exciting, I learned so much already.
Okay.
The only thing I can get right in my signature is okay.
Here's one set. Here's another. And finally.
So, yes. What tricks me is when there's like the signature on the bottom and the top. Oop, that's the last one.
It's just the last page, yeah. The bottom is. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to keep it on.
Okay, well, moving on with the old business. The cemetery mowing and the veteran cemetery committee, there's nothing new this week. The Bricktown Hall equipment update, the installation is still scheduled for October 29th, 30th, and 31st. Shelter survey, is there anything new, Katie?
Yep, I have a conference call with the fire chief and the EMA director Wednesday, 9 a.m., and then we should have that sorted out.
Okay. And anything on the squad truck?
We're waiting on approval for the account, for the government sale. It's an auction site for governmental agencies to sell equipment. We're waiting on the approval for that account to come through, and then we'll list it for sale there.
When that is listed, are we gonna post it locally?
We can, yeah,
So
we
we
can
can let
post
the
where
town
people
people
can
know.
go, where they can go bid on it. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll, can have the link on the website and.
And, okay, update on the Microsoft Exchange email, that's going to happen in December. Trio training and payroll, that meeting is coming up. And work on new capital project request and the town manager template, that'll be completed by November 14th.
That's our first meeting.
Okay, then moving on to new business. I think we've signed some of these, but approve and sign the release deed for map 17, lot 6, and map 51-2B.
We signed those already.
So, is there a motion to approve and sign those?
Make a motion, we approve and sign the release deed for map 17, lot 6, and map 51, lot 2B.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, is that one I already sent down?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, approve and sign settlement statement for map 39, lot 96.
I make a motion, we approve and sign a settlement statement for map 39, lot 96.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? And approve and sign earnest money authorization for map 30, lot 106, and map 39, lot 8.
I think that one was already covered when we did the realtor recommendation, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, yeah, we approved those.
Yep.
Okay. And discuss flags for Washington and Main Street. Alicia, do you have something on that?
So the research committee reached out, and I guess normally, I think there are some I noticed, there are flags that go down Washington, there's some on Main Street. Some need replacing, and I think they had talked to the fire department about being the ones to replace them, but wondering if there was still money in an account here to buy some new flags, and then I'm happy to set up with Vinny if they would be the ones to replace them. You know, I don't know if there's some brackets that probably need replacing or poles too, but what your guys' thoughts were on that. I did just ask Isaac if we had a new one to replace at the Bricktown Hall, because that one is looking pretty raggedy, so. They are happy to help raise some money towards it, but they would like to see that done and continued. I did.
Did we at one point have an account for that?
We I looked up what we had. I think we have like $550 left in Tibbetts Park, but I know we usually spend the rest of that probably for Veterans Day. But there also was some money in something else. I think that I don't know. She thought there used to be money that had like flag money in it. So, but yeah, she did mention your name, Steve, so. I don't think that they bought them all. It didn't sound like.
Okay, well, can we find a way to determine where the funding for this might be and then bring it back next week?
Can we figure out how many we need? I mean, before we figure out, so we need to figure out how many flags we need, how many poles, how many brackets, and then we could go from there once we know what we need, because.
I know a lot of them, I was part of the crew that took them down last year. And I know a lot of them were, I would say 95% of them needed replacing.
So when do they go up and down?
It goes up before one day and comes down after a certain holiday.
Well, like Memorial to me makes sense.
Memorial to Veterans Day, I think.
So the money would be for next year anyways.
Yeah, but
so, all right.
now that it's budget season, I think we need
Yes.
is there an account, like, are we willing to take care of it? Do we need them to raise some money? How do we want to handle it? See, I couldn't find anything that was like, for flags.
Right,
Like,
we
I don't know
have
if it
the
was-
memorial,
Well, we have money for public plots.
Yeah.
I mean, there's money there, yeah, there's spots, I don't think we need a special account for it.
No, I was just trying,
Yeah.
do we put it under that, or do we put it under rec, where we put the rest of the stuff having to do with our memorial things?
I mean, we put under public plots?
So all these kind of have poles, brackets, flags. And then we can budget for it and take care of it that way. Okay.
Yeah, I remember taking them down. They were in pretty rough shape.
I just didn't know how many there were.
Okay, next item is acknowledgement of Spirit of America recipients, and it's a letter to recognize Neil Meltzer for the work he's done.
So Neil does know, he got a letter. He called me and asked me what it was about. So I kind of gave him a little backdrop and just said, you know, for basic community service, and we were super thankful and appreciative of all of the time and effort that he took, you know, on the bandstand and handle that project for the town, and trying to be actually doing it for the water district too. So he was super appreciative and wanted me to thank the board for the nomination.
Okay, well, I will next go into hearing of citizens. Oh, I've got Gail, I see first.
I just wanted to ask the board a question. I've heard a rumor that the town has completely received $1.8 million from the federal government. I'd like to know if that's true, and can I publish it on the website? I haven't heard you say it yet.
It is true for the fire station. I want to be clear. I want to double check with Vinnie and Julie. There was a question of $12,000. I believe that has come in, because I believe they have said we got all 1.8 million. But before I want the caveat to be on there that there was one submission for $12,000 that early on maybe needed to be resubmitted. I believe it's come in, but I can't guarantee the last $12,000, but we are definitely 1.7988 million, so, yes. And it will be immediately used to pay down the monies that we've borrowed to build the fire station.
It goes on principle, right?
Excuse me?
It goes on principle.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, that was my question, so.
And I know Vinnie, Vinnie is gonna put together a final report on the fire station. He and I talked about, I believe, again, it's gonna be within a few dollars, but the cost to the average, we used to use the average house at 250,000, but now we're using it at 400. The cost of the average $400,000 house is going to be somewhere between $89 and $94 a year, because we've agreed to take $35,000 a year out of the rescue billing to offset that payment. So that would be the difference between the 89 and the 94.
Anyone else?
Ricky Richardson. I'd like to get together with the board sometime in the future when you have a minute and do a site walk around the new fire station regarding the snow, just so you understand what we're up against and where to put it. During the construction, Great Falls had us take care of it. The future snow season coming up, I'd like to get together with you and walk it, see what you think, show you what we got for an idea, and let me know what's good for you.
Let's book it right now.
Alicia?
Should we do a before a meeting thing? Before a meeting walk? 6:30?
Yep.
That works for you guys?
6:30 on the 15th?
21st.
21st.
6 o'clock.
We're just
Days
gonna
are
half
getting
hour.
shorter.
What?
Days are getting shorter.
Yeah. That's true.
Bring a flashlight.
Oh. 6 probably?
6 o'clock.
6 is fine.
It's well lit.
6. 21st.
6 on the 21st. Does that work for you?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Steve?
First thing, there's going to be a touch-a truck on October 19th down at Carroll Material from 10 to 2. So maybe next week you can add that on to your announcements.
What was it?
Touch a truck.
Touch-a truck,
Oh, touch a truck.
October 19th at Carroll Material.
Barrels?
Yeah. 10 to 2.
The 19th?
Yes.
19th.
10 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys were talking about lot, are there any lots that we actually have deeds to that we're selling? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's one that we just signed that she's closing tomorrow and bring back a check for almost 40,000.
Right, no, that's.
So there are some.
But Stan was saying we can't do the tax acquired ones for Habitat for Humanity. But can you pick out some that we have the deeds to?
We are doing that. And they're going through them and researching all of them, and the ones we can sell, they will.
But those.
Means
you
to donate.
could Work something out to
Could we
donate.
donate
to donate.
those?
Yes, we can't donate the tax acquired ones, but can you?
But if you heard what he said, what we have to do, we still have to, according to the state,
Okay,
we still have to buy the lot from ourselves,
To donate it.
and then when there's not an heir to give the money back to,
okay.
we gotta give the money to the state.
All right, so the ones that we have deeds to, we still have to give money back.
We still have to give money back,
Yeah, because that's what I had found out. So I-
which is unfortunate,
Well,
because
no,
it's,
well, it is what it is. I mean, you know, we're trying on the thing there. The trees and shrubs I asked about this summer, but it was too hot at the fire station. Is that still progress going on? We gonna put any trees, shrubs around the fire station like originally was planned? So, I know you had said it was too hot in the summer there, during the summertime, but.
I know that there was money in the budget for landscaping,
Right.
and they've basically turned it back to us to do,
Okay.
I believe, to just do whatever we want on our own.
Yeah, yeah, because if we don't do it shortly, it's gotta wait till next year.
Yeah,
To dress that up, you know. Up at the lookout may be a good idea for the next 4 or 5 weeks to have the custodian, I told her, go up and change the trash bag out on a Friday.
I already asked him.
I know, I'm letting them know. So, yeah, because this weekend one of them was just over full, because there's a lot of people up there now. Plus it was the Freiburg Fair. So, because I had called her on Saturday to ask her, somebody get that before it gets all over the place.
She doesn't work Saturdays.
Okay, I'll take Steve's.
Okay.
She has to. She's getting voicemails for days.
Now, the new contract with Mellon's, now, does that include hauling the containers and stuff down at the dump? Is that part of that? Okay. All right, so, okay.
if they don't go away in time, he's agreed to haul them for $250 a haul until they do go away.
Okay, all right. Maybe when you sign that contract, make sure, you know, have.
It's in here.
It's in there, okay.
The open top containers have to go away by January 1st. That's state law.
Okay.
No more open top containers for household.
Okay, all right, cool.
Okay, anyone else? Joanne?
Just a quick announcement. I talked to Howard and Cortland, and we have a bottle account down there. People bring bottles down. Cortland does the brunt of it. And we have a company that comes and picks them up, and then counts them and brings us the money back. And we would like to, out of the bottle fund, we would like to pay for the attendance building at the transfer station out of that bottle account, if that would be acceptable to the board. Originally, it started that it was for our, boots or clothing, but there's over $7,000 in there. So we thought that would be a good thing, that the people would know that their donations went for that building, for the attendant. So If there's no objection, and
what is the account under? Does it say bottle fund?
oh, yeah, it's a separate account, designated account.
But it's not designated for anything other than, it must have been created at some point
Yeah,
for use at the transfer station, I hope?
yeah.
Fantastic.
Same thing as, when they do it for the library.
Yep.
Yeah.
Charles Pellegrino. I was talking to Patrick from Great Falls, and I was talking to Vinny about planting in between my house and the firehouse. And the last time I talked to them, they said we had to have grass there before they could do anything. Don't ask me why. And then they said they were gonna come back and visit it, and then they told me they were gonna plant trees there, some evergreen trees, all the way down the property line. So what's gonna happen? Are we gonna get anything, or is it just gonna be bushes, or what we discussed isn't gonna happen? You said the town's in charge of it now?
As far as I know, Great Falls has given their last requisition of money. So they're not, other than something warranted, I don't believe they're coming back with the obligation to do anything unless it's, like I said, something warranted. I could be wrong. I do know that I believe that budget line was $3,500. I could, again, don't, for
I thought
that.
it was 10 grand for all of.
We can look, I don't know, I would have to look. I think that was all the landscaping combined. I don't know if there's other stuff that came out of there or not, but there is still money. I mean, we're still under budget. We haven't closed out any of the accounts yet. So there is the availability to do it.
Well, they probably ought to do it before winter.
Unless it gives you a good spot to put the snow over there. Might make it easier to dump the snow
You'll
over
see.
your yard.
You'll see, that's what we'll see next week. But I'd like to get them trees planted sooner than later. I don't want it to be forgotten about.
We'll talk to Vinny.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is Cheryl.
Charlie there brought up his side. Now, I remember before the station was started, that on the opposite side, there was a problem with the landowner, and they had ripped up some stuff and whatever. I can't remember the particulars. I have to look it up. Is that going to be replaced along with when they do Charlie's too? That was all supposed to be boarded in.
I think they're all set. They talked to the landowner. And I think he's happy with everything.
Oh, they replaced what he's happy with what they did. Okay, all right. I see him every once in a while. I'll check, so that way they could do both at the same time. Because I know that's been going on for a long time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Steve McLean. As a member of the Fire Station Building Committee, all right, it was explicit, there would be shrubs up and down there, right? So, we should be doing it, whether we find the money, do the money, or whatever. It's going on long enough, all right? Big word we used all the time is trying to be neighborly, okay? So, whatever, arborvitae's, whatever the hell you're gonna put up there, but something should be up there, all right, to deflect the light and the noise and everything else. So, but it was in there. Wade, you were there, all right, it was there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone disagrees. I think that,
Well,
yeah, it's
but
clearly the last thing to get done when you're planting, and it's, we'll talk to Vinny. He's been running the project right through the end. There's no problem with the funding. We have.
Said it's going back, went back to you guys, so.
Please don't quote, I believe that, all I know is, I was told Great Falls had their last requisition.
Yep.
So, and I don't believe they've done any landscaping, I don't think they're planning on, but
Well, they've done.
I will find out.
They haven't planted the trees.
I will find out in the next couple of days.
That was part of the quote.
Who's gonna plant them and.
Find somebody to come in and do it before it gets too late to do it, and then we say, oh, we'll do it in the spring, and the spring turns to summer. A couple of months ago, I asked about it. It was too hot to do anything.
If there's nothing else, do I
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for attending or listening.